All right, guys. So um, I'm thankful that I'm able to get another video out, two in one day, and this, as I said, I might make this a little playlist. Is what I might do, since it is pretty much kind of all talking about the same thing. Now, as I said, I'm not gonna make this too long, but I gotta give background when I'm talking about stuff like this because I am including my own personal experiences in it. Um, so, um, although I said that I am not, I don't have a psychology degree or really have studied, well, I can't say that, but have really have any kind of certificate or anything like that in mental health. Um, I have actually off and on studied various types of mental conditions and things like that for a very long time, just because it interests me. So I've read a lot of books and things like that, and I've did it on my own, just my own. But that still does not make me a expert in being able to diagnose anything. I just know what I see. And I'm putting that out there, and I'm not ashamed or afraid to say that. I mean, you got people out here just willy nilly just throwing around all kinds of behavioral disorders on people, and they have no degree either. So I'm letting you know that I don't have one. But I have experience with, you know, just a lot of life experience. I'm just going to leave it like that. And so I'm also in the titles that I put up. I'm going to put something like behavior that seems like narcissism, or I'll put something like what seems like narcissistic behavior, something like that, because as I said, I am not, I can't diagnose it. I just know what I see, what I read, what I listen to, what I've studied, and what other people, say about themselves. So, anyway, that's just another little disclaimer that I'm throwing out there, because there is no actual diagnosis. And I'm actually going to talk about that part as well. Um, Maybe, you know what? Maybe I should go ahead and just talk about that right now. Just throw that in here with these couple of things I wanted to say, because it's really only about two, maybe 3 points that I have for this next video. Um, But as far as uh, diagnosis, you know, mental health is something else. It is it's, I mean, even when you start going into the history of mental health and stuff, you start looking into that and researching that. It's very interesting, extremely interesting. Um, and how things are diagnosed, how, I mean, at the end of the day, basically, they'll kind of tell you that, they don't really know. Like, they don't really have in so many ways they're just sticking names on stuff, you know. That's why in the first video, when I said it seems like what they call narcissism. I mean, that's the name that they have for it. So that is the name that I am using. I think personally, I think there are more deeper issues than that. I think they've stuck a label on something, and that's what it is. But things are so multi-layered. Things have so many other things behind it, and or which is why you can't just label stuff black and white. I actually hate labels. I absolutely hate labels. I hate putting things in box. I mean, I hate that. I hate grouping things and people. I mean, it just, because it's never true, it's never real, and it's just shallow and small-minded to do that. But getting back to diagnosis. Now, if you look at a lot of things, you will see one of the things I wish and I would recommend a lot of, especially black people, but black women in general would do is read the book. Is it Cornel West? The Miseducation of the Negro is an excellent book. I had an incident in my life where I lost all my books. So that's one of the books I'm going to get again. I'm absolutely going to get that book again and probably read it again, because it was life-changing, actually. It really was. So I would suggest, really, all of us need to read it, And so, but it talked about mental health. It talked about special ed and so forth, when the school system and all that stuff was beginning to be built and everything. And if you have, I don't listen to a lot of Umar Johnson, but I have listened to at least one or two of his videos, and I think one of them, the one that I really listened to, was about how schools label little black boys. And I think I got it, though, from that book, The Miseducation of the Negro, about how special ed was basically pretty much for black boys. They pretty much designed it for black boys, I can't get into the reasoning and all that right now. It would take away the whole video, but get the book, read it. I don't really think if you're a learner, if you're a reader, I really don't think you'll be disappointed in getting that book and reading it. So with all that said, once again, when my son was small, he was okay, let me just put it like this. He was like really good at home, but then like at school, we would get all of these messages and, he did this today, and, can you come to the school because he did this, and and it was just stuff really that his dad and I could not believe, because we were in a very long-term marriage. He had his dad really most of his life up until pretty kind of, well, like his mid-teenage years, and still, even after that, he still had his dad in his life. He would go stay with him, go live with him. He'd ask for me. So it was my son's experience with his dad was a lot different than my daughter's was. And that's very unfortunate, But at the end of the day, so that was the kind of behavior that he had. And so, I talked to family and things like that. And, I had a cousin. She was like, well, it runs in the family. And, there's so many black people in general in America where mental illness runs in the family, until I'm not even ashamed or embarrassed about anything like that. It just is what it is. It's almost impossible to live this American life at whatever culture you are and come from and not be a little special. So she was like, well, it runs in the family, so, just go check it out, and, he kind of act like such and such, in the family, and, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll go see. So at the end of the day, it took that doctor less than 15, 20 minutes, I'll say, 15, 20 minutes tops. And my son came out there labeled ADHD. So, and we know the thing behind that, if you want to drop whatever comments about that or whatever, how they label our children, and especially black boys, feel free. However, with my daughter, skipping way ahead, she first of all, we're in a whole different, we're no longer in the South. So things are different just in every which way because of that. And so I don't know if it's because she's a girl. I don't know if it's because of just the way things are. I don't know if it's because she's super amazingly smart. Like this girl is super duper smart. Honor roll smart, skipping class, skipping grade level smart. She's absolutely so smart, you know. So anyway, I have had her in various therapies for the last 5, 6, I don't know how many years at this point, you know. After I got divorced the last time, or, you know. So anyway, I put her in that just primarily because I just knew it was going to be hard for her. And like, it's just me and her now. And she'd had her stepdad with her all up until this time. And, you know, she was very little when we got together, 1.5, 2 years old. Matter of fact, I don't even think she was 2 yet. She was like really like 1.5, like small. And so it was traumatic, you know what I'm saying? It was going to be traumatic. Then we were getting thrown into another environment by ourselves. I had not been working. He didn't want me to work. He wanted me to be home and do the whole thing, whole nother video. So, yeah, we were kind of just thrown out there on our own. And at the end of the day, I figured, you know, if nothing else, I need to get her some therapy. Then she had to deal with coming from homeschooling to being thrown into a really big school because, well, I'm not going to give any details because, you know. But this particular school was very big, and everything was just all different and would have been new for her. And so, you know, the bullying, she went through that for a long time, actually. And all of that is when I decided to get her therapy, figured she needed it, and, you know, won't hurt, and the whole thing. End of the day, all up until that time, I've been able to get no diagnosis. And I know that there is something, and I'm not trying to call her crazy. I'm not saying any of that. I just know what I see, and I know that with the level of sometime her even getting to like self-destructive type behavior, you know, and not doing anything to herself, but putting herself in situations that could potentially be bad, and just the bad decisions, bad friends, bad influence. It's just like, you know, not even to say that itself needed a diagnosis, but it definitely needed something more to go on with why she is like that, attracts that, or something. And there's just really been nothing. It's just really been nothing. And to me, that's a bit of a disservice. I think a little bit of why they do it is because I think that there's a thing with children. I really do. And I think a lot of times they just don't want to label a child. Now, I get the fact that children change and grow. A lot of stuff they do are just childish, and it's just them being a kid. I get that. Sometimes it's hard to differentiate, you know. So I don't know if that's a little bit of it too. Maybe they want to just see if they're going to grow out of it. I don't know. But I'm saying all that to say I don't have no diagnosis, but I know what I see. I know what I am experiencing, living through, and I know what is genetic and in the family and all this. So those are the reasons that I use the wording in the title of my videos and how I'm going to word them and title them. Now, the two things this video is really about, the two things never that I am discovering through experience, never to do when dealing with any person of any age who seems to be portraying or behaving in, you know, with narcissistic type, in a narcissistic type way, the behaviorism and things like that. One, because their mouth, the things that they say will hurt you, will cut you, will demean you, will shame you, will embarrass you, will purposely gaslight you, will purposefully um, gaslight you and annoy you, and just they will pretty much do and say anything. And I'm talking right now about what they say to hurt you, or to get your attention, or to shock you, or to whatever. They will say it. And so, you know with that being said, and it is so hard to do. I'm still learning, but I know that it's a realization of what needs to be done. Is don't listen to what they say. Look at their actions. Prime example, even with my ex, but I really don't want to talk about him so much, but even with him, and then my daughter, I'm seeing a lot of the same traits in her. And I have seen it in other people too, but I want to keep this personal. Is that they will say something out of their mouth to hurt you, belittle you, whatever. And a lot of times with him, it would be, oh, for real? I said, nah, I don't remember that, And it's just like, it just adds to your anger, frustration, confusion, all of that. Now, my daughter will more so, oh, why you got to bring up the past? Or, are you still holding on to that? You can't let that go, or whatever. And so, and then it will be, especially with her, that you still mad, you still angry, whatever. Or she'll do something to like come near me or whatever, to like, in my mind, what it says is almost kind of like, are you okay? Even though I said something that has your heart bleeding, like, are you okay? Or they'll do something to try to still be close to you or whatever, or try to, make up for it in some kind of way, is what my ex would try to do, to take me out to eat or something, and still on the way there, he's saying, crap that is making me feel like garbage, and just, or we'll take something small, and, I'm crying by the time we get to the restaurant, but you're trying to make me feel better though, and it's just like, it's just crazy dealing with them and their personality and their, just how they are, My daughter sat here, I need to check my time. My daughter sat here the other day and said something nasty, mean, cruel, and ugly. And I told her, I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing nothing you say, anything you say. Don't ask me nothing, anything, until you apologize. Like that was cruel. It was uncalled for. You didn't have to, whatever. And she apologized. And with the apology, she said something else nasty. And I'm like, wow. Like you were supposed to be apologizing, and you still being nasty and ugly in your apology. Like, and she walked out the room, slammed the door, and I'm sitting here like, okay. All right. So, but anyway, with all that being said and done, we still, because of the way that I am learning to deal with things, and there's a book that I'm reading also, and I'll try to, before this video gets too long, I'll try to throw that in, help, for you all to get that book. And it's been helping me. I haven't been reading it like I should, but that first chapter, matter of fact, first couple of 2-3 pages was some good, juicy, vital information that started to help me. So it's a very, very good book. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and look for it right now, so I can tell you the title of it. I downloaded it on my Kindle. It was free through Amazon. I don't know if it'll be free for y'all. I don't know how y'all plans or whatever are set up, or if you have it like that. Have, that type of plan, but, the way I did it and have it, I was able to get it for free. And, but anyway, yeah. So the name of the book is Oppositional Defiant Disorder, a parent's guidebook for children and adolescents with ODD. Once again, I have no diagnosis, but I'm still reading things and trying to find things that where I see the behavior displayed, even videos and stuff. I'm looking at these things like, that will help me. And quite honestly, a lot of it does. It really does. A lot of it has to do as well with your personality and so forth, and how you deal with things and how you handle things. And it's hard. It's very hard because at the end of the day, especially coming from the parental side, nobody wants to be disrespected. Nobody wants to be talked to crazy. Nobody wants to, like, you didn't raise your child like that. You know that you raised them better. Especially being from the South, I'm a old school Southern mom. Like, I'm still with I made a video about yes ma'am, no ma'am. Maybe y'all go back to that, but that's still where I am. I know it's outdated and whatever, but I'm just making the fact that, that's how I'm talking about old school. You respect your elders. And I know times have changed. There's so much even with that, but try your best, do your best to not look so much at what they say out of their mouth, because there are times when, it's like, she used to do it more so before than she does now. She'll come back and apologize, like, I didn't mean that, or I'm sorry, or just whatever, And like I said, she doesn't do it as much now, but now it's like she'll do stuff to be nicer to me when she knows she's been mean, if that makes any sense. So it's almost like, yeah, I know I said I hate your guts, but I bought you a chicken sandwich or whatever. So, it's just best to keep in mind that, especially with that type of behavioral display. I don't want to make this video too long, so I may have to even put the next one in another video, the next point in another video, because I don't want to make it too long. But it's just the fact that you have to, and see, it's different also when it's coming from like a family member and child or whatever, a brother, cousin, whatever. Someone that and in my case have raised, so them more than anybody, other than when you're dealing with like a spouse or a husband or something. Like, you don't know their upbringing. You don't really, what they tell you, maybe of what you hear, maybe, but you don't know them so intimately to know why they're like that and how they got like that and what, and know like their real true intent. Like, are you really seriously trying to cut my heart out, or, you're just hurt. You're just, crying for attention. You're just, you're some subliminal stuff behind what you're saying. You don't know them like that all the time. But when it's a family, and especially like with my daughter, I know her. So I know deep down, even though she says some cut your heart out stuff, that for the most part, I know she don't really mean it like that. I know that, and especially that's why I keep trying to say self-care is so important, because you do have to get back, get yourself together, take some deep breaths, get out of your own emotions, get out of your own anger, get out of your own head and everything, and get yourself together, calm yourself down, do whatever it is that you need to do to relax, or take a few minutes, or breathe, meditate, listen to some, whatever it is for you. Do that so that the spirit and that whatever else, yourself, can talk to yourself and talk to you and get you to really see. Because that's actually what happened to me. I'm going to tell this and I'm going to go ahead and cut the video off. I don't, want to go too long. I'll make a part two, or, this is going to be a series. So I'm going to continue on with this. But what my daughter did the other day is she said, I caught her doing something that she knows she was wrong about, and I know she was ashamed of. I already know it, because after it all, she went in her room and pretty much just stayed there, which is kind of unlike her. But she knew she was wrong. She knew she was wrong. Just in all of it, she knew she was wrong. But what she did is she tried to gaslight. She tried to throw it back on me somehow and, blame it on me because of whatever happened to her before. And, somehow, that was your fault because the way I perceive it, you didn't do anything to help me. And I know y'all don't know what I'm talking about, but it's like at the moment and at the time, I'm just mad and I'm just angry because I'm already upset about what you did, and you're trying to deflect. You're trying to throw me off, and you're trying to manipulate and try to make it seem like my fault, when really what you're trying to do is just get it off you because you know you're wrong and you're guilty. So that's it at the end of the day. But still, the things that she was saying was just hurtful. It was hurtful the way she was saying it and what she was saying on a few levels, because it wasn't true, it wasn't right, it wasn't accurate, and all of that. But at the end of the day, when I went back and, like I said, got myself together, what I did is I went back into that conversation, and subliminally what she was doing and what she was saying to me is that at the time, what she was talking about, that situation, she felt unprotected. She felt unheard. She felt unprotected. And she felt like I didn't protect her. I wasn't there for her. I didn't help her. And even though that's not the way it was, she was young. And that's her perception of it. And that's how she sees it. And that's how she believes it. And that's what she has convinced herself of. And in so many ways, it's my human whatever to feel like, I want to defend myself. Like, I want to tell you what really happened, because that wasn't it. But at the end of the day, what I'm realizing is that I got to give that to her. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's wrong and inaccurate and whatever, I got to give that to her without telling her, oh, you wrong. That's not it. Da, 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 da. I got to give that to her enough to respect her enough to feel like that's how she perceived it. That's how she perceived it. So in so many ways, that's her truth. And all I can do is acknowledge it because it's her truth. If that makes any sense, I have to acknowledge that's her truth. And I can give eventually, hopefully, one day, my side of it and my truth and the way that it was or whatever. And my perception of it, but I can't take it from her by being defensive and just go in my emotions and being hurt and, oh, well, that's not it. That's not what happened and blah, blah, blah. I can't do that. And this is where, like I say, getting myself together and getting myself in a state of me being controlled and me getting my emotions and everything okay and to normal is important, and it's imperative, So, I know what was coming out of her mouth was what it was, but at the end of the day, I know at the end of that, it was a cry for help. It was a cry for attention. And that's a lot of things with the narcissists in general, because, or with those who are portraying narcissistic like behaviors, is that they say a lot of just at the off the cuff, just crazy, mean, you know, just stuff like, where in the world did you get that? Like, why would you think that? They say stuff that make you feel that way, but at the end of the day, these people have such a need for attention and need just to, like, get some type of engagement from you, and energy from you, if you get what I'm saying, until they will just say it. And then it's so much like toddler behavior, until toddlers don't care. They just gonna say whatever. They gonna fall out on the floor, throw themselves down on the floor. Oh, I'm about to die, and my arm finna fall off, and blah blah. And ain't none of that true. You being overly dramatic. Hey, look, you need to calm down. You know what I'm saying? And even though you're looking at these big grown bodies, when you're talking to narcissists, and when you look at them a lot of times, they got a full beard, they got a full woman body, man body, whatever. But it's that same toddler-like, extreme, temper tantrum, over the top, melodramatic, way too dramatic, just off the chain, crazy. Sounds just like, come on now. Look, I don't want to use that word crazy. Forgive me for that. And I wasn't saying that they were crazy. What I was saying is that, like, the stuff they're saying is just like, it's just, come on, stop it, you know? And it's hard. It's hard to do that because, like I said, you are looking at grown people, or you are looking at people who you feel like should know better. And you are looking at people who, just, why are you acting like that, But they are acting like that. And that is where they're coming from. And that is how they're coming at you. And so you have to be careful. And you have to remember, to keep yourself in control. And even though it's hard, you have to really talk to your own self and know that, she's just being overly dramatic. She was just being, and in my daughter's case, and then I'm going to cut this off. In my daughter's case, she was really seriously she was just saying some stuff to really throw me off of the fact that she was wrong for what she did. And she knows she was wrong for what she did. Plain and simple. That's it. That's it. And she was just throwing out some stuff that maybe she had it built up. Maybe she wanted to say it. Maybe she had, had been wanting to say it for a long time. Okay, that's all well and fine. But at the end of the day, you still was wrong, and you were wrong. And she knew. She knew she was wrong. But she still said those things, and, I don't hate her for that. I don't I was hurt. I was hurt when she said it because, it hurt. I mean, my daughter has, she has a mouth that can, my goodness, it will tear you to pieces, So yeah, but I got to remember what it is, who it is, and it helps me